Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a GitHub checklist PR reminder. What this is going to do is it's going to prevent you from opening a PR in GitHub until you check off a certain number of things, which ensures you have a quality PR before asking your team for a review. You ready? Let's go. After you've created your PixieBrix account, you're going to open up the page editor. So you can do that by right-clicking on any page. Click Inspect. And if your doc shows up to the side over here, I personally find that kind of an annoying view for PixieBrix, so click these three dots and move it to the bottom. And you can hit X if you've got any gibberish down there. And then look for the PixieBrix tab on this console here. It's typically at the end. From there, you will be in your page editor. And so now what we're going to do is drag this down here. We're going to add a trigger to our mod so that it actually triggers anytime we get to a PR page like this. And so we're going to click trigger. And I want this to work on any PR, not just this specific one that I've got up. And I want it to work across all repos. So I'm going to actually change the sites section so it triggers across multiple sites. And I might rename this PR checklist. Other than that, nothing else we need to do on this first one. Next, we are going to add this brick that hides specific elements. So first of all, I'm okay with it triggering on this page, but I really want it to hide this pull request button. So what I'm going to do is add the hide brick. I'm going to click add. And then I'm going to click this selector field, and you'll see there's a green mouse that appears here. Click that. And then notice how I can highlight all over my screen and it changes to different colors. I'm going to highlight over this button here. And once that is selected, I'm going to actually run my trigger and you'll see it hides that button. Now though, I actually want to hide that little block too, just because I want it all gone. So I'm going to do the same thing, adding another hide brick and selecting that button there, run trigger, boom, it's all gone. And so now what I want to do is I want to create my items for my checklist. I'm going to hide that. Next, I need to configure the items in my checklist. And so I'm going to add assign mod variable. And this is where I'm just going to create an array of all the things that I want to include in my checklist. And I'm going to call this like requirements. For the value, I'm going to click this ABC field and I'm going to change it to an array of items. And then I'm just going to add an item for each thing that I want. So it might be like check for correct casing. It could be maybe I want to check for consistent variable names. Is everything alphabetized? Anything that I want to check through and make sure I catch before sending over to my team. So I'll just start with these three things, but you could add as many as you want. Next, what we need to do is we want to add the show a modal or sidebar form. And to do that, we're going to give it a title. We'll just call it PR checklist. And scroll down to the bottom here. We're going to give it some submit button text. We can change that to be open PR or something like that. And then for the location, you could choose a modal or a sidebar. I'm going to actually choose the sidebar because I want it to be over here on the side and not in the way of what I'm trying to look at here with my PR. So let's go ahead and run our trigger and see what happens here. So we see we've got the side here, and now we need to set up that field. So by default, we already have one field here. It's called example. I'm going to change it to checklist, and then I'm going to say the label is the text that's going to go above it. So I'm going to say, remember to do these things. And then I'm just going to get rid of the field description. And for the input type, I'm going to select checkbox multi-select. And then instead of passing options here, I'm going to choose a variable and I'm going to give it the array of my variables or of my my requirements that I said. So I'm going to reference that by saying at mod.requirements, which is going to let me access that mod variable here. You can see requirements right here. And so I could literally just copy and paste that if I didn't want to type that. So that's there. And now when I hit run trigger, you'll see we actually have a little form where it says, remember to do these things. And it's got the three items here. So I've got my form, but now I need to add my logic that shows me my buttons when I've actually filled out everything in the form. So to do that, I'm going to add an if-else brick. And this will let me create some sort of condition to check for and do one thing if it's true and one thing if it's false. So specifically, this is, I already typed this up, but this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to check and see if the form.checklist length, aka how many things they checked in the checklist, matches the requirements length. And so I'm effectively checking to see here in this data panel, did you check off all of the things that are required when you submitted the form? And you'll be able to see when I'm checking off a form, for instance, I ran that, you can see the output here. Checklist has 2 items. So that's why this statement, it's literally just comparing the length. And if it's the same length as the requirements, then I'm good to go. So now I just need to build in the bricks for showing the bricks in if and else. And so I might start by show. I'll add that, and then I literally just grab the exact same classes here. So I don't even have to use the selector. I can just copy and paste that right in there. And then let's do it. You can copy that brick by clicking this and then paste it right below. And let's do the float bar too, just in case we want that. And just because I'm fun, I'm also going to add some show confetti to kind of style it a bit. And maybe even like a fun little window alert that's going to say, congrats, you're ready to open. And I can change the alert type to be success. And then I need to let folks know that if it is not, if it does not match, aka if they didn't check anything off, or everything off, I'm gonna add a window alert. I'm gonna make it maybe a warning, or maybe, yeah, let's leave it warning. It could be error, but I'm gonna say you didn't complete the checklist. Try again. And now you'll see when we run this trigger, if I check off everything, woohoo! It says it's ready to open and it shows the button. However, if I do it again, but I only check off one thing, it's going to say, you didn't complete the checklist, try again, and then show me this button here. So that's how you can do it. And then again, just when you're ready to go over here, make sure to save this. And then you can close it out. And then ta-da! Come over here. I go to create a pull request. There's no button. I check 2 things. It says, nope, you didn't do it. You got to try again. And so let's say I refresh the page to try again, although I could build some other triggers that would make it automatically show that checklist again. Check all these things off, click open PR, and now I have my buttons here when I'm ready to do that. So let me know if you have any questions or anything you want to add onto this. There's lots you could do here. You could save it to the state so that every time you come back to the page, it saves where you're at with it. You could also, like I said, make it re-trigger that checklist if you don't check everything off and submit it. But once you kind of get the habit of it, you're going to realize if you don't have everything checked off, it's not going to open. So you better check everything off. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'm excited to see what all you build.